Hello again, and welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Rural Report. I am your Rural 2IC, and we are in our 30 days of survival for National Preparedness Month, aka September. So while we are doing this, I'm giving again a shout out to Little Rural, my 5-year-old, for giving me the awesome idea of being creative and doing this in the manner of using the alphabet. So every day we're doing a different letter, coming up with a couple of words that is related to preparedness, and we talk about them for a little bit. And then I issue you guys a challenge. So today is like every other one, and today's letter is the letter L. So I'm going to start this one off with labels. Now, we already did a video a while back of say no to labels, and that is labeling you. People get caught up in labels all the time, and that's very divisive. You're this, you're that, you're this other thing, and I made a whole video on why labels are what they are. But on this one, I'm talking about kind of what we did back on the letter I of identification. You should probably make sure you have things to label stuff. So you are probably going to be doing a lot of reusing and recycling of containers and different things. So while yes, I think some of the labels that we put on things today are a little bit overdone. During SHTF, they're probably going to be pretty important. So being able to have things so you can label what's the difference of these jugs if they're all the same size, shape, and color on what is gasoline versus kerosene versus diesel versus whatever. Equally as important, all these containers are again the same appearance, but which one is drinkable water? Which one's clean water? Which one's just straight out of the river? And you might have a few people watching this going, well, if they can't tell, no, listen, uh, after SHTF situation, the people that is around me are people that I love and care about, and I want them to be as safe as possible. And so, if taking 10 seconds with a big old black permanent marker and writing on this, do not drink, yeah, I think I'll do that. So labeling things, especially if you just mixed up a new tincture or anything along those lines, to be able to write down, if you got a whole bunch of mason jars, which one is which? What's for pain relief? What is for having a cold or something like that? There's people that's not going to be able to just look at something and identify exactly what it is. And so, if you tell somebody, hey, run in there and grab this, they can go in there and identify the label. So, next word is going to be labor. Now, this kind of goes along with some of the ones that we've talked about before about, health and things like that. But depending on what happens during an SHTF situation, you may not have power for very long, if at all, meaning it's going to be pretty labor intensive. And you should probably do what you can right now to prepare yourself for a much more labor intensive day. Now, I know a lot of you that watch this are farm people or people that homestead, and you're like, well, not much is going to change. It, there's probably still a few minor changes for you, not as much as somebody else. If somebody's in downtown capital of their state, it's going to be night and day on how labor intensive things are going to be. But a lot of things might go back to an old fashioned way instead of using a lot of hand power tools or being able to fire up the tractor or the truck or anything along those lines. It's going to be manually doing things, which is going to take a lot longer. A lot more calories are going to be burnt and things like that. And so make sure that you're planning on that. The things that you can do right now, you're like, well, I can build a picnic table in an afternoon. Can you do the same thing with no power? And not running down to the local hardware store and picking up already cut lumber or treated lumber or the lumber exactly the size that you need it and things like that. So the next word is going to be lack. Now, the reason why I put this in here is we talked about humble and some of the other ones. We all lack in an area. Okay. Now, this is going to be personal and this is going to be group. and you have to figure out where it is that you lack, and do your best to try and strengthen it by some form or fashion, whether that is you taking personal responsibility and doing what you can to elevate that skill or that area that you lack in, or finding somebody that's dependable that fills that hole or that need for you. And this also goes into your group. Even as a whole on a group, there's still an area of weakness. There's still something that you lack somewhere. Try and figure out what that is. The best way to do that is by practice and by putting things to the test and doing it, because even well-made plans, it could be the greatest plan on paper, but once you put it into practice, all of a sudden you start finding these little holes. Wow, this was in the wrong spot, or we put this in the wrong container, or whatever. uh, you will figure out where it is on the areas that you're lacking, and what needs attention, and how to fix it. And I would rather figure that out now. So last one on the list is going to be land. Now, this one's going to be a little bit self explanatory on you should utilize the land. And it might be the land that you have, it might be the land that you're going to bug out to, it might be anything on letting the land provide for you. There's a lot of food and water and other resources that nature just provides on its own. All you got to do is be able to identify it and go get it. And nature, as a most part, it's regenerative. You can go out there and pluck some wild strawberries, and they will regrow. You can just go out there and keep getting them. But you have to elevate that. You have to be able to identify them, know where the area is to go look for that resource and things like that. But it's also trying to get more land, right? We could always use a bigger area and more land. And just talking a little bit with some people the other day, depending on the situation, it may not be full on Mad Max, or some really, what a lot of people want to say is the end of the world as we know it, or, anything like that. And so, maybe some people in the suburbs, maybe a big event happened in the city and it moved west, and you're east of the city, in a suburb. If your neighbor packs up and takes off, and you kind of read the situation that they left, they're not coming back, and there's no immediate threat, why not use their land? If they come back, hey, I planted some stuff in your backyard, you can have it back now that you're back. I mean, whatever it is. But make sure that you're utilizing the space that's around you, and always kind of keep on the lookout for different things, because you never know where there's a new water source, or an underground spring well, things like that. uh, there's all sorts of things, so make sure that you travel the land that's around you in your immediate area so you can discover these things. Lastly, we're going to do the honorable mention, which is going to be legal slash laws. I just did a video on this, and this is one that I want to make sure that people understand, that after SHTF, all this legalese and all these thousands, if not millions, of laws on the books are going to disappear, and you're going to have your own laws and rules. What's legal, what's not legal, you know, what is going to be a law versus what is a common sense don't do sort of thing. And going along with that is going to be, what do you do if somebody breaks the law? How do you do punishment? And all this needs to be thought about before SHTF. You don't want to get into an SHTF, somebody steals something, and you go, hey, you can't do that. Well, why not? There's nothing that says I can't. And even if you do, okay, we already all agreed you can't steal. Okay, so what's the punishment? Well, I don't know yet. Now's the time to start thinking about stuff like that. So if you missed that one, I did a whole video, went into that into pretty decent detail. So, but that's what I've got for you today. I hope you got a little bit of substance, and some entertainment at the very least out of all this. If I did a decent job, hit the thumbs up for me. It helps the YouTube algorithm, and kind of lets everything go out. And we're picking up quite a few subscribers from this, so I'm going to do my best for all of you new subscribers to do what I can to earn your support as we continue on through this. So With that, I'm going to say that I hope you had an amazing day. I hope you have a blessed day. Stay tuned because there's definitely more information to come. And with that, I want to remind you, remain united because we're all prepping in this together.